Alright everyone, here we are in fast lanes in Boise, Idaho, getting ready for some indoor karting. This is my first time tackling the task of indoor karting, so it will definitely be a learning experience for everyone because, as you will see, it is a much shorter track, a lot of twists and turns, a lot of great overtaking, a lot of possibility for just flinging yourself out there. Definitely a different type of track surface of getting used to, so a lot of slipping and sliding, definitely a lot of oversteer. And that doesn't mean we're overdriving, it's just literally these karts are flinging themselves around the track because there is almost no grip. But anyways, here we are, 6 of us getting ready for the first session, including my wife. But first person heads out the gate. This guy, I would learn, would later be some great competition, and the rules are no overtaking on that first turn. They have had too many accidents, oh my gosh. But here we are, wife is out the gate, employee actually in front of me, thought he'd get behind the wheel himself on his free time, and here I am launching out the front door, taking the first turn, getting ready for this right-hander hairpin, which I would learn is something very difficult to nail down. Hairpins, they are just a difficulty of mine. But here's my wife, overtaking her on the outside, sweeping around this right-hander, figuring out that there are multiple lines we could be taking. And I found that this one right here, sweeping out way out to the left to cut in close to that bar right there for the first turn, was one that was going to get me tons of speed, but almost too much speed for that hairpin, as you saw that I had some oversteer, losing my rear end, carry that same speed right here. These S's I would learn to be very fun, but very easy to clip the barrier because you are cutting it too close sometimes. But here I am swinging out wide for the first turn. As you see, I'm carrying tons of speed, and we were actually reaching top speeds around there, about 40 miles per hour, which is pretty intense for an indoor karting track. And as you're seeing, there's almost no grip. You are slipping and sliding, so you're learning to take control of the kart a lot of times on these first few laps, and that is probably my first thing I was having to learn on an indoor kart. Was you're gonna have some oversteer, you're gonna have to learn to maybe not brake, but let off the gas on these turns a little bit, let the weight carry you into them, kind of glide, not drift. You don't want to drift because you'll lose time, but glide into them. As you see here, I'm barely doing any turning, gliding into the first few turns. The hairpin, forget that, that's an excuse. But as you see here, watch my steering, you are essentially drifting, so, but it's fun. And you try and find the lines, because I feel in indoor karting, as you see, there's multiple lines we could be taking. But here I am coming up on my second overtake. This guy, number 7, he was proving difficult to pass on the hairpin, but I said, I'll try and take him on the outside here. I don't. Okay, I'll maybe come in close. Nope, I get clipped. He gets blue flagged because obviously I'm a little faster. Honestly, I would have loved some competition here, but I'm flying up to my wife again. Probably about the second time we're gonna take her on the inside because she's swinging out a little too wide, and that's because some oversteer. Here I am, I'm learning on that first turn, in order not to clip it, that you do want to let off the gas a little bit, find the inside line here, past the checkered point, and just full throttle. They say you want to brake here, but no, I learned if you just let off for just a second, tap the brakes right there at that bar, you'll be good for the hairpin. Swing out wide, cut in close here. I'm coming in for my third overtake actually, and that's because I'm finding the line. And if we watch these next few laps, you'll see that I'm becoming more consistent. Brake late here, got a little too excited. He spins out. I almost spun out myself. But here we are. You want to cut in close, swing a little wide, swing out, ride that wall a little bit, ride this wall, ride those cones. You'll swing yourself out for this wall to the left, which allows you to arch right back in for this first turn. Brake late, swing the rear end, carry that weight into this turn, and you do it all over again. Except I kept hitting that wall. Like, what the heck, man? I was consistent because I kept hitting it. But anyways, we keep going. I'm still gaining speed. Surprisingly, so I've passed my wife and 2 other people. That leaves, I believe, 1 or 2 more people to catch up, because the end results, I mean, pretty exciting. We're getting close to the last few laps here. Here is my wife again. As I said, you can't pass on this first turn, so traffic does tend to be building up right here. But I know she's gonna swing out wide. I come in for the inside, swing out wide here, knowing I have to cut in close to the left, allow that weight to carry, swing around, tap the wall as I always do, come in for this inside line, come into those cones. And it's just consistency. And an indoor kart, what I think is great about them is that you do learn from your mistakes, because they are amplified, I believe, on this type of track surface. The twists and turns on such a short lap force you to get a handle of these top speeds in such a short amount of time, and to get a grip with the kart and to understand how to feel it out, to really listen to the small details of the track and what the kart is telling you. And it really puts you in a position of, okay, give me just 2-3 laps to get a feel for this, and I can start finding consistency. And that's what I did. And I did a lot faster than I do on the outdoor tracks. But once you find it, it's really great to learn from. But those mistakes are amplified. So what that does tell you is you're making these same mistakes on the outdoor tracks. How can we learn from them? What can we do to overcome this? And what can I do in these short amount of sessions to learn that? And I learned that my braking is crap. I tend to put my hands all over the steering wheel and add too much input to the kart at times. Like, look at here, where'd my left hand go? It should be 10 and 2 just about, but I lost it. And when you do that, your hands are drifting around. You're trying to find a spot on the kart, the steering wheel. It's gonna cause you to have mistakes. You're shifting your weight, which is just causing you to drift off the line. As you see here, I'm not cutting it as close, which allows me to lose just a few tenths of a second on him when I should have been right just behind his tail. Getting in that slipstream and being able right now to make the pass. But instead I'm having to wait for him to get a little too excited on these twists and turns here to make this pass. And even though this would be overlapping at this point, scared him into a mistake, or I scared myself into taking the inside line. No contact was made, but he did take the outside line, which allowed me to pass him and start gaining some speed here. That hairpin was something else. But as I was talking about, I think indoor tracks are really great for showing you your mistakes, how to get a grip of them really fast, how to learn a kart really fast in such a short amount of time on a short track. Because it really teaches you, okay, that's what oversteer is, that's what understeer is. Because on some of these outdoor tracks I've been to, you have too much time. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoy too much time on a track, but these laps are, the fastest people are getting 19 seconds, and we'll see here in just a bit that I got 22.4, ninth best driver of the day, and I did improve upon that. But 21 seconds, 19 seconds some of these people are getting, that's a short track, that's a short amount of time. And doing that on an outdoor track, depending on the configuration, but really an outdoor competitive track is not gonna, I mean, I may be wrong, but tell me if I'm right or wrong, but I haven't seen that yet. And so you really have to get to terms with your kart really fast. And I enjoyed that. It really showed me, okay, this is what to look for in a kart this is how I need to drive with a cart in these conditions, because I do not have my own cart. So I am forced to use the public cart and really learn, okay, this is what no grip feels like, oversteer, understeer, as I mentioned, a wobbly steering wheel, because in my next cart, the steering wheel, I would be turning it and the wheels would be going nowhere. And I'm not saying understeer, I'm saying they were not turning yet. So something was off with, I don't know what you would call that, but the axle, I don't know. I'm no mechanic over here. But anyways, back to the race. These are 10-minute sessions. We're going fast, hot, hard, and heavy, you know what I mean? But here we are. And once again, I apologize that if this is a little too much porpoising for your liking. This is due to the low lighting. My GoPro's working extra hard. But here I am catching up to my wife again. I don't know how many times I've lapped her at this point. She said she was going to be, oh, we got the checker flag, thank goodness, because Granny over here is about citizen's arrest, because she was some dangerous driving. But we had some great driving on the road, some great overtaking, forcing people into mistakes, staying behind them also, learning their lines, seeing how they're driving. I think it was a great overall experience for my first time indoor karting. Another thing I will mention as another tip or trick, some advice, is definitely work out your forearms, because getting to these karts on such a slipping and sliding track, it works you out hardcore. I mean, I am shaking. Good thing I got my gloves on, because this would have just torn up my hands. A lot of times the steering wheel was getting away from me and it was forcing me to just really white knuckle this cart. But we're getting out here. I'm parked last, so I'm thinking, okay, I may have made some passes, but maybe I wasn't too fast on the time. Maybe, heck, maybe even though I lapped her, my wife was doing better than me. Who knows? I mean, I got couple dudes up here that I lapped many times who were parked up first, but as I'm walking up to the TV, I see my cheekish grin on the far left, second place out of 6, and as you see my name, 9th, Ricardo, inspired by Daniel Ricciardo from McLaren F1 with a whopping 22.49. And here we are for the final heat. 4 of us this time. Me and ASM2, which was the individual who got first place, and a whopping 21.7 last race. As I said, this is a public karting area with karts hitting speeds up to 40 miles per hour. So him and I were taking this seriously. The couple are up ahead, I believe, are on their first day actually, going to an indoor karting track. Great idea, love it, guys. But we're out here to take some names, kick some butts, okay? So here I am launching myself into the first turn. Already I can feel this cart, as you see, has no steering to it. Lot of understeer. But here I see the girlfriend, take her out on the outside, find my line here. But it was really difficult, because what you wanted is you wanted to hug this wall on the inside. I clipped the wall on the left. That is because I had no steer, a lot of understeer. So I think up here I gotta go check in with the steward and be like, yeah, I'm all right. I only flung myself into the wall, but hey, I'm alive. So I'm dealing with understeer, even though I thought I found, there I am, hitting it again, thinking I found the line, which is you want to ride that wall on the right side, and then, you know what, we'll get to it here. Anyways, here's where I check in with him. I'm okay. I'm good. Give him the thumbs up. He's like, get out of here, you make me sick. I'm sick of looking at you. But anyways, you want to ride these cones on the inside, ride that wall right here on the inside, then fling yourself out here and then cut in quickly. allows you to have a good racing line and braking point for this hairpin. Then you want to ride all the way to the outside, cut in left as I have been. It will take you out wide, but these, you could ride them a little bit wide, you could take them in close. Either way, the setup point was right here, because if you nailed this first turn, you really were able to carry momentum. And this allowed me to start formulating a strategy, which is something I need to start learning to do when I do outdoor tracks. And so being on such a short track, getting to terms with the kart, getting to terms with your endurance physically, mentally, learning right there on the spot how to oversteer, understeer, handle a kart. This next thing I just want to say is okay, pass this guy. Sorry, boyfriend, ditch his girlfriend. He's like, he wanted to get competitive. But you want to formulate a strategy. After the first few laps, you definitely want to get an understanding of your braking points, where you're turning too hard, where you're swinging out wide, because if you find a good time, a good pace, you want to maintain that consistently. And even though I was being consistent, you have to find a setup point, and that is right here on that first turn. If you did not have it set up after the checkered mark on the ground, you were pretty much scrambling trying to find the line from here on out. You could get the terms here, find the grip, swing it around, and then you're like, okay, I can get it here, swing out wide, I'm dealing with understeer. And at this point, when you find understeer and you're getting behind traffic, you start going, okay, well, the previous line from the previous kart I had didn't work. So this is where I'm going to have to find this happy medium, because that's where the strategy comes in. You go, okay, I know how to do it with a kart with oversteer, and this is my line. Now this is a kart with understeer. This is definitely going to have to be my line. And that's where I started learning here, or maybe it was my head slamming it's just ever so slightly into the wall those first 2 times that kind of reset things. But anyways, you saw a couple passes. I'm losing time because I hit traffic, I've clipped the wall, I'm dealing with the kart issues, trying to find a good racing line. And ASM2, if you've been seeing that highlighter shirt on the turns here he comes down on the first straight, he's been catching up. And I've been using him as a little marker to be like, okay, when I take this turn, I should be seeing him. If he's anywhere sooner than that, he's gaining time. And I need to start learning from my mistakes and making up time, which is another thing I want to mention about indoor karting and karting in general. Once you make a mistake, don't instantly try and fix it. Don't try and go, okay, I gotta overcorrect here, shoot. Now you're losing the wheel, now you're losing your mental focus. Pass this chick here in the first turn because I'm not letting her shut the door on me for this opportunity. But anyways, learn from the mistake, keep it in your head going, okay, that turn, I go out too wide. Just continue driving. Just know your strategy, even though that can go all out the window. Just know your little mental notes and continue to drive. Try to breathe and stay calm. Try to get back on that line. And if you're noticing here, side note, sorry, back to the video on these turns, the camera's shaking hard. I am getting oversteer because I am beginning to overdrive because ASM2 behind me is catching up. He's no longer at the point, the little bookmark I wanted him to be at. He's catching up and he's about to make a pass. See, he should be on the curve when I'm around here, but he's catching up. And what you're noticing here with the porpoising almost, the shaking, is that on the turning with the understeer and oversteer, this car was beginning to just get all over the place, is that I'm bouncing. There's not enough weight in the back. And if you ever feel that, you're a lighter, smaller guy like I am, you know, you definitely want to try, ooh, just freaking past her, little swoop. Anyways, you feel that bounce when you're taking a turn, lean back, try and get some weight in the back on the turns, and do your best to just shift that weight. It'll definitely help in the long run. I'm not talking seconds, but tenths of a second could come off just to get a little bit of better control. Boyfriend up here is getting nervous. Dude, we've lapped you multiple times. Slight contact was made there because he brake checked me. Sweep along the outside, coming for the first turn. ASM2 has not passed me yet. But as you see there, as I'm bouncing, as I'm coming into these turns, because I have no weight in the rear end. I'm trying my best to push my weight back, but I'm losing it. And I take the inside line. I'm thinking, okay, he is right on my tail. I can feel him. Sweep out to here. I barely clip the wall, which just scrapes it. Yeah, he's right behind me. Take a quick glance, and I see that highlighter yellow right behind me, about to extinguish me. He comes in for the inside. I'm thinking, nope, I'll take you on the inside here. We both encounter traffic, and we're thinking, gosh dang it, woman. Just kidding. Anyways, good times. We passed her so easily. And I think the traffic helped me out with her and her boyfriend, because her boyfriend was driving equally as slow, probably even slower, thinking he had a chance. But that caused ASM2 behind me to slow down ever so slightly, but I'm losing it on the corner there, clipping the wall. As I said, consistency, but learn a way to fix your mistakes, because I was consistently scraping this and just losing the weight. Here's another thing. And then this is, I think, just overall karting, but I think indoor karting on these short tracks at these speeds can definitely teach you a lesson of patience and overcoming your nerves. I let him pass there because he had a much better racing line than me. Good etiquette. But I think what's so important is that you need to stay calm. Take a breath. You feel someone coming right behind you, you feel them riding your tail, then you definitely need to go. Reanalyze your line, reanalyze your drive, what mistakes you're making. Okay, how can I capitalize on those little steps I need to take to get better? And even though they're right behind you, do not focus on them. Focus ahead, keep driving, but understandably, if you start feeling them consistently on your neck, breathing down your neck, and you're not in competition, let them pass. They obviously have the better line, and you can step back and actually learn from him. Because once he passed me, I started watching what he was doing. What were his mistakes? Where was he braking? What was slowing him down? How is he taking these turns? And I noticed he was also very consistent on hugging the wall, slingshotting himself out, getting a good braking point here, riding this wall, which then allowed him to fling out just ever so slightly here, cut in close, swing out wide to prepare for this next sharp turn, which then lined him up perfectly for this setup point. And here we all are getting the checkered flag at the same time. I think I placed second with a best lap of 22.1. But anyways, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. Definitely learned something. Come back for more.
I'm a high performance athlete. Athletes sweat. Sweat, baby. Sweat, sweat.